Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. Imagine. What would happen if one day, Tana's mother-in-law suddenly appeared again? She brought with her late regrets and an unspoken secret. Tana, the woman who had once steadfastly rebuilt her life with her young child, now faces a call from the past, a voice that is both familiar and haunting, whispering to pull her back to the place she once ran away from. But when CEO Alex hears about this encounter, which way will his heart choose? Calmly protect or ignite a fire of suspicion? This is not only a story about love and survival, but also a journey torn between forgiveness and dignity, between the light of the present and the darkness of the past. Follow me until the end of the video to discover the dramatic truth behind, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can continue to bring you surprising and unforgettable stories. Will Tana succumb to her ex-mother-in-law's persuasion, or will she stand strong on the path she has chosen? Dawn had just broken. The whole village seemed to be awakened by the mist still lingering on the young grass. The first light of the day was clear. The chill of the night had not yet dissipated, making the early morning air carry a very unique scent, the scent of moist soil, the scent of leaves, and the faint scent of grapefruit flowers wafting from the garden far away. Alex woke up very early. Although he is a businessman accustomed to the modern urban lifestyle, since deciding to stick with this land, he has learned to love simple mornings. Today, he has an important appointment with a partner in the grapefruit garden, where the sunlight is just enough to illuminate each plump grapefruit, still covered with sparkling dewdrops. He believes that to convince someone, it is not only necessary to have numbers, but also to show them the true value originating from the nature and people here. Meanwhile, in the small kitchen, Tana gently tied her hair, put on a simple brown shirt and carried her familiar bamboo basket. She walked out to the lemon garden behind the house, her hands nimbly picking each fresh green lemon. The rustling sound of leaves under her hands echoed with the chirping of birds calling for dawn. On Tana's face, the morning light reflected, revealing a beauty that was both gentle and determined, the beauty of a woman who had experienced storms, but still had the strength to start over. The morning market was more bustling than ever. The sound of vendors' calls echoed, the sound of motorbikes, the sound of sandals and clogs mixed with the chirping of children. Nhat sat in a corner of the market. In front of her were only a few baskets of lemons still covered in dew. Possibly stopped to buy a few, not only because the lemons were fresh and delicious, but also because of the gentle smile of the vendor. For Tana, every penny she saved from the early morning market was not only to raise her children, but also a testament to her independence and quiet pride. Early that morning, on one side was Alex in a pure white shirt walking with his partner in the lush grapefruit garden. On the other side was Tana in a simple brown shirt sitting in the corner of the country market. Two people, two paths, but the same start for a new day, and no one expected that from this piece. The hidden waves of fate were quietly stirring up. The sun was shining brightly when Tana returned home after a tiring morning market. There was only a few coins in her bamboo basket, but it was sweat, a silent pride. As soon as she opened the gate, she was stunned. Before her eyes was her ex-mother-in-law, the woman who had left Tana with many deep wounds. She no longer had the harsh face as in her memories, but instead her eyes burned with a vague ambition. In her hand was a stack of papers, trembling but full of stubbornness. This is the truth, she exclaimed, her voice mixed with trembling and determination. I have done a test. The child is my blood. It must return to my family. The words were like a knife piercing Tana's heart. She was stunned. Her hand gently let go of the bamboo basket. A few lemons rolled on the tiled floor. Many old memories rushed back. The days she silently endured, the times she was forced, the nights she held her child and cried silently. But this time, she was no longer the weak woman of the past. Tana's eyes shone with determination. Mother. Papers can prove bloodline. But who raised him? Who lulled him to sleep? Who saved every penny for him to grow up? That was me. What right do you have to take him away when you've never taken care of him for a single day? The atmosphere was tense to the point of suffocation. The wind outside the grapefruit garden seemed to stop. She clenched the papers tightly, her face red, about to step forward. At that moment, the sound of a car stopping abruptly outside the gate. Alex appeared. He walked in, his demeanor resolute, his eyes immediately recognizing the situation. Without asking much, he stood right in front of Tana. What do you want here? His voice was low and resolute. She held out the DNA, her hands trembling. Look, I've proven it. He's my grandchild. I won't let anyone take him away again. Alex glanced at it, but his eyes did not waver. He turned around, gently held Tana's trembling hand, then turned back to face her. Yes, the certificate of parentage, but, you're wrong. The child doesn't need a name, it needs love, and that love, you've never given it a second. At that moment, Alex's voice was like a cold bell. If you still intend to take it away, I will not hesitate to ask the law to intervene. Please leave. Silence. Only the sound of cicadas chirping in the garden remained. The ex-mother-in-law clenched the stack of papers, then threw an angry look at Tana before turning away. Her figure gradually disappeared behind the trees, leaving the small yard heavy. Tana sat down, tears falling down. But this time was different. She was no longer alone. Alex sat down next to her, gently placed his hand on her shoulder, his eyes filled with protection. You don't need to be afraid anymore. I will be here. From now on, no one can touch you and the child. At that moment, in the middle of the small yard, amidst the scent of grapefruit wafting in the wind, a silent promise was lit. That night, Alex did not return home in a hurry. He stayed behind, preparing a simple meal with Tana. On the table were only a few dishes from his hometown. A bowl of sweet spinach soup, a plate of braised fish with a strong aroma, and a plate of crispy salted eggplant. Everything was not fancy, but when all three of them sat down, the meal became a complete moment. Henry was still a baby, only a few months old, lying obediently in his bed, sleeping soundly. Occasionally, he moved, his lips pursed as if he was dreaming of something sweet. Alex leaned over slightly, used a spoon to scoop up some cooled soup, blew on it gently, then kindly fed it to Tana, his gentle smile making her heart flutter. After the meal, when the cicadas in the gardens sang long into the summer night, Henry fell asleep, his small eyelashes closed, his breathing even, leaving the house in a peaceful silence. Tana gently covered her child with a blanket, then walked out to the porch, where Alex was waiting. It was completely dark. The moonlight shone down, spreading a gentle silver light on each tile roof, each flower bush in front of the yard. The night wind caressed, carrying the scent of grapefruit. The two people sat next to each other, silent for a moment, as if to enjoy the rare feeling of peace after many storms. Alex broke the silence first, his voice warm. Have you ever thought about the future? About a roof where Henry grew up, without fear, where you can laugh without looking back? Tana was silent for a moment. For her, the future used to be something too far away, a fragile concept that she did not dare to touch. All these years, she only knew how to live each day for her little son. But now, there was a man who dared to ask, dared to think, and more importantly, dared to promise to go to that future with her. She replied softly, her voice trembling, I never thought too far. I just wanted Henry to have a peaceful childhood. Just that. I am satisfied enough. Alex smiled. His smile was as gentle as the moonlight covering the yard. He reached out to hold Tana's skinny hand, squeezing it tightly as a promise. I promise, from today, you and the baby will no longer be alone. I will be here, and together we will write tomorrow's. At that moment, Tana felt a pure happiness spread throughout her heart. Not a flashy brilliance, but a simple peace, something she had longed for. With Alex, she realized that love does not necessarily have to be a vow of eternal love. Sometimes, love is just a sincere presence in every meal. On a moonlit night, in a promise to protect a woman and a small child. That night, Henry slept soundly in bed, while in the yard, Tana and Alex sat next to each other, their palms clasped tightly together. Above, the bright moonlight seemed to witness a new beginning, a small family, simple but full of love.